Hello and welcome to the 7th day of Vlogmas. My name is Meg and I am the yarn dyer behind Megs & Co. Thank you so much for joining me here on my YouTube channel. Today I am in my yarn dyeing studio that's downstairs in my house, and it's Friday after work, and I am going to be getting ready for dyeing yarn tomorrow. Saturdays are usually my big dye day of the week. It's where I get the majority of my yarn dyeing done. So today I'm going to kind of do all my staging, pre-prep work, just so that I can wake up early in the morning and get right to work. So I have a little bit of cleanup to do that's left over from last weekend, because I had kind of overflowed a little bit into the work week. So I still have some dishes and stuff that I left to wash, and I haven't even put away all my dyes from last week. So I'm gonna work on getting all that cleaned up and reset and ready to go. And then also, I was just kind of sitting and knitting, and I don't know, just a color idea popped into my head that I thought might be fun, maybe for holiday, maybe for end of year, maybe for January, I don't know. So I have an idea for like a speckly color, and I think I'm going to do it on some sock yarn and potentially pair it with some 2 tonal colorways. Was part of my idea, and doing a sock set. So I'm actually going to set up 2 pans, just 1 pan. I'm just going to start with the speckly colorway and see how that comes out. Or do I want to do... Screw it. We're setting up 3 pans. We're going to do 1 speckly and 2 tonals, and we're going to make a sock set together. all my prep work done for tomorrow. All the yarn that I plan to dye this weekend is all prepped, and prepped, it just means that I've got everything put up on zip ties and whatnot. So everything is all sorted and ready to go. Did the last bit of washing of my dishes that I needed to do, and I dyed these 3 pans. So I'm really excited about this little sock set. Let me put on a glove. So I wanted something that was like, you know, kind of festive, kind of holiday, but I didn't want something that was going to be too Christmas specific. So I've got some teals and berries and greens. So really excited for how this speckled colorway came out. It's really fun. I even do some more speckles in there. I think I might just do one more layer of speckles in there. I'll come back to that. And then to make it a sock set, I did 2, they're not really contrasting colors, they're more complementary colors. So I did just a solid teal, a nice rich dark teal. Still has a little bit more cooking to do. And then a nice warm rich garnet color. So perfect for, it's like a cranberry red. Garnet is also the gemstone for January, so it's perfect for going into the new year, and it's going to complement that speckled colorway so well into the sock set. So yeah, still a little pink in this water, so I'm gonna let these cook just a little bit longer, let that water get nice and clear. But I think those are gonna be really fun sock sets. Hopefully I'll get into the shop soon. Feels really good that I got a good dent in the yarn work that I needed to do. So I feel really good going into the weekend that I'm going to be able to hit the ground running tomorrow morning. I don't have I have a big day tomorrow, but I feel like I'm more than halfway done with the dyeing that I have to do for the rest of the year. So that feels really good to kind of be, I'm in a good spot. Feels good. And it felt even better to be able to throw some dye and get the creative juices flexing a little bit. It always is so good. So just while those pans continue to heat up a little bit more, I just want those colors to have a little bit more time on the heat so that they can fully exhaust. So I'm just going to start working on skeining up some of this massive piles of yarn I've got everywhere. Yeah, this has been down here for a little bit, and so I think I'm going to pop this in the shop. This is one of my wildflower batches. So my wildflowers are, they're all one-of-a-kinds. It's where at the end of the day, I'll use up my leftover dye. Sometimes I'm testing recipes, but they're all, you know, just unique So these were all in the same pan, but you know, I'm not going for consistency. It really is just using up the dye that I have lying around. If I've made, you know, an extra for some reason, if I'm doing a lot of speckling, I'll dip my fingers in the water and then save all that extra dye. It really adds up by the end of the day, and use it on this yarn, and it just creates such a beautiful, beautiful one-of-a-kind colorway, and that sometimes I get so mad that like there's no way to recreate these. I mean, this would be stunning. Like I said, these all came out of the same pan, so they're all a little bit different, but you could absolutely use this in the same project, and you know, just making sure that you're rotating them through really well, like a fade, depending on what you're working on. But so I'm gonna list these, but what I got really excited about is I also have this batch of random mini skeins that has been down here for a while, and it's just like a rogue color, and I haven't really had anything to pair it with, but then I thought that they looked really good, like exceptionally good, with this particular batch of wildflowers. So I'm actually going to kit these together. Where's my handy dandy stapler? I'm going to kit these together as a sock set. I think that they just go way too perfectly together to not be a thing. Like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to be listing these as a sock set in the shop. And I actually have like a ton of these minis. Like, I only have 5 of this color, but I've got a whole pile. So I still have to figure out like what I want to do with these minis. I mean, one option is to just create 4 colors that go with this and have that as a mini skein collection. Yeah, I just don't know. But for now, I think that the sock sets are really working. I think I'm gonna sneeze. Ugh. Definitely rounded. Oh, here I am forgetting my mini skein. Definitely rounded the corner with my cold. I'm feeling really good today, just in terms of like sickness, but today is definitely, you know, like the annoying day of like, I don't feel sick, so to speak, but I'm very like seepy. I just want you to marinate on that description for a little bit. Yeah, I just feel like everything is just kind of working its way out. So I've been literally sneezing like nonstop all day. And yeah, I'm just in that like watery eyes, runny nose, watery eyes. But fortunately, I feel otherwise fine. Like I'm not, no sore throat, no headache, which I always get a headache when I'm ill. So yeah, so fortunately this has been a very easy cold. I just now need to get over the gross phase so that I can leave my house, because yeah, I am going a little mad just being shut in my house for, I haven't left my house since Tuesday, and today is Friday. Usually Friday nights we like to go out for like a cocktail or something. So I think we're at least going to order some takeout to have some sort of semblance of a date night. But maybe tomorrow I won't be yucky anymore and I can finally leave my house. But so good. Ah, I love these. I might have to steal one of these for myself. I like try really hard to not hoard my own yarn, because otherwise it becomes a problem. But these are really good. So excited that that works out. All right. Yeah. I'm going to, actually, I have this other pile of, this is like another mini skein. Here, let me twist this guy up. I feel like you can always see it better when it's in the skein. Yeah, I have this second color of mini skein that's just like a random pile. This was, oh, I remember what this was from. This was from when I did the Indie Untangled box, countdown box last year. I did a test batch, and my color that I got assigned was like a yellow color. So last year's theme was every dyer got assigned a different Pantone color of the year colorway, and I got Illumination, which is like a pale yellow. And my test color came out like, I don't know, it was like this like putrid vomit colored yellow. Like, it's rare that like I fully will mess up a color to where I'm like, that's just gross and unusable. And this is one that happened. Yeah, it dried and I was like, ew, what is that? That's ugly. So I ended up over dyeing it, and the over dye, I know I'm in my basement, so the lighting is quite terrible down here, but the over dye came out really nice. So it has this like kind of color shifting effect where you're like, what color is that? Is it gray? Is it brown? Like, you can see the little bits of yellow poking out. But like it otherwise has a very neutral look to it. How does it look with this one? I mean, it does kind of pair together with that one, so maybe I do have a start to something. So I think I'm going to just twist these up just so that they're no longer sitting in this pile that's going to get tangled. And then I'm going to go upstairs because I think I want to open my puzzle for the day, even though I'm still like super disappointed that yesterday's puzzle was missing pieces. But that's okay. I still enjoy taking a little bit of time to put them together. So hopefully that is the only puzzle that's actually missing pieces. And I can keep going. I wonder if we'll have any missing pieces today. Oh, this was 7. Are we in 6? Ah, I went out of order. We'll do 6 tomorrow. Whoopsies. That's fine.
So we already burnt way too many days off the candles, so
Oh yeah.
it's par for the course.
Well, and it's kind of funny. So yesterday I was saying how our candle was taking forever. Our Advent candle, where like every day you light it, and you're supposed to like burn it. It does not go there. And you're supposed to like burn it, you know, like just the number. But like it's been taking a really long time to burn down each number, which is great. But like sometimes, like, you know, we're ready to call it a night and the number hasn't completely burned down. Well, last night, I don't know if it's just because we lit it like so early.
I think
Or
because it got further down in the vase.
Yeah, and I think it got too hot in the vase. I think
Yeah.
we've got to put it on a pillar stand. So we have it in like, it's literally just a flower vase. And I think once the flame got inside the vase, it got too hot and it like fully imploded. So it's like down to like day 9 or something right now. So that is a bummer, but
Take a
it's
couple
fine.
days off.
Yeah, so we can't light it for a couple days. But fortunately, we'll be able to come back.
I might even try to like carve off the excess at the top so it's flush again.
Yeah, carve the candle.
You know, like you do.
Tonight I am swatching for a new cast on. So I had signed up for a test knit for a worsted weight cardigan. Kind of don't know what I was thinking signing up for that going into Advent season, knowing that I had this queue of projects that I wanted to do, but that's okay. I'm excited to do this cardigan because this is going to be something that is going to be a wardrobe staple. So it's a worsted weight. It's a garter stitch cardigan and it's just looked super cozy. I liked that it was a little bit of a thicker fabric, but still a very wearable fabric, not like a chunky knit or anything. So the picture looked beautiful. And the sample was originally made by the designer in Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, which is a worsted weight, non-superwash woolen spun yarn. So it has a very airy core. It's a very lofty yarn. I've never actually personally worked with it, but I've like touched it and spec'd it. And so I was hoping that my Empire State yarn would be a great substitute for it. So my Empire State yarn is my custom spun yarn. It is my New York State yarn. So this was custom spun for me at Battenkill Fiber Mill that is located in New York State. And it is spun from wool, completely sourced from here in New York State. So it supports our local fiber producers and our local mills. It's great wool. It's a great yarn. I'm so proud of this project. I could talk about it forever if you let me. So I thought that this would be a great substitute for it because it is also a non-superwash yarn. It is not a woolen spun yarn. It is a worsted spun yarn, just meaning it's a little bit of a denser yarn. So I just thought that it would still be okay because it's a DK weight and it's actually like a light DK weight going in instead of a worsted weight. But what I love about this yarn is that once it's blocked, it really does bloom very, very well, in that I actually find that my gauge tends to align more with a worsted weight gauge, even though this is a pretty lightweight DK yarn. It's 250 yards per 100 grams, and it's a very densely spun yarn. So it's it's a pretty light DK, but I just love how it knits up more like, or I should say the fabric blooms into more like a worsted weight. So I thought it would be a great substitute. So we're already like 3 weeks into this test knit, so I'm way behind. As soon as I got the pattern, I immediately made my first gauge swatch. This is not actually the color I planned to do, but this is a bit of leftover. The last test knit I did, I don't know why I'm suddenly doing all these test knits, because usually I already have enough of my own deadlines. I just feel bad when I can't adhere to a designer's deadline, so I usually just do not sign up for test knits. But I also just finished the test knit for the Grid Gambit shawl, and so this is my leftovers from that, so I just wanted to use this instead of using a fresh skein, so it's the same yarn, it's just a different color. But I had already swatched for it when the pattern first came out, and I am a very tight knitter, so pretty much always, I always have to go up 1, 2, rarely 3 needle sizes, but always at least 1 needle size, always. It is so rare that like I'll hit gauge on the same exact needle size, like pretty much, unless I'm using like a very different yarn or something. So I gauge swatched. The pattern called for size US 7 needle, so I just automatically gauge swatched on US 8s. But my gauge was so off. So this wanted you to be 20 stitches per 4 inches. And I was at like 16, which just seemed crazy. And my swatch just seemed so dense. I've also never swatched in garter before. Like this is the first time, so the pattern is like a garter fabric. So this is the first time it wanted you to swatch in garter. So I don't know, so I kind of just wanted to think about what I wanted to do. Did I want to switch my yarn? What needle did I want to use next? And I had only meant to like kind of sit and think on it for 3 days, and 3 days turned into like 3 weeks. So here we are. So I opted to swatch again, and I went down 2 needle sizes. So now I'm at a size 6. So I'm 1 below what the pattern calls for, which to me just seems bizarre because, like I said, I know that I'm using a DK instead of a worsted, but it's so rare that I have to go down in needle size. But we'll see. I'm just worried that doing this in a 6 is just going to be too dense of a fabric, but we'll see. I haven't blocked this, but we'll see. So my backup plan, so I'm going to make another swatch in a different yarn. My backup plan, and so I'm doing this just in size 6 needles again because I just had these needles out, so just to kind of see where my gauge is I have this yarn in my dyer stash. This is a worsted weight, so this is a true worsted weight. So technically this is what the pattern calls for. The pattern calls for a worsted weight. So this is a true worsted weight. I believe it is 210 yards per gram, so it is technically thicker than this yarn. So again, I don't know where my mind is going that a thicker yarn is going to give me more stitches per inch, but I'm just curious to see. So I don't know. Where my mind is going here is that I'm nervous that because my New York State yarn is a very it's a dense yarn. So I'm just nervous that this fabric is just going to be too dense and too stiff. Like you can see just it's got a lot of structure, but I don't want it to have so much structure that the garment takes on a shape that doesn't move and flow with your body. Like you don't want so much drape that it's limp and lifeless, but you also don't want it to be this thing that, you know, just doesn't move and conform to your body as it moves. Like I don't want it to be such dense fabric. So I'm nervous that a size 6 is just too dense of a fabric. We'll see after I block it. Maybe I'm gonna be surprised and it's gonna all open up and be fine. So I'm trying out just a much finer fabric, or a finer wool. So this is also a non-superwash wool, but it's a true worsted weight. It's a non-superwash. This is a merino rambouillet. I had actually purchased a whole lot of this, and I had intended to bring this into the shop for the fall this year. I had purchased this, like I said, a whole lot of it, and then pretty much right around the same time that this came into my shop, I had received my shipment of my Empire State, and they spec very similarly, so yeah, so I just didn't really have the bandwidth to market both of them at the same time, you know, to make the samples, make color palettes. It just felt like they were a little too similar in spec, and you know, even though like they're not, but they are. I don't know if this is making any sense. But like, yeah, from a marketing perspective, I just didn't know, like, you know, how do I tell my audience that they're just different enough, but they're not, but they are. So I decided to table this yarn, but maybe this yarn is appropriate for this pattern, because you can see that because it is a much finer yarn, it just has just that little bit more drape, that the stitches are opening up. So whereas this it just wants to stay put. It just is so dense. Whereas this, on the same exact needle size, even though it's technically a thicker yarn, it's kind of letting go. This has so much elasticity, which is fantastic, and this is why I love it for sweaters, because your waistband on your ribbing isn't going to flare out. But I just think that doing it on a size 6 is just too tight. It's too tight, too dense. So you're not getting like the nice benefits of this great yarn. But I'm liking this. So this is kind of my backup plan, that this was not the yarn I was planning on using, but it might be the yarn that is appropriate for the project. So I'm going to make both these swatches, and I think at this point I just have to make the decision between these two options. I kind of went through my stash, and I don't really have a lot of worsted weight to make a whole sweater of something. I don't have like a sweater quantity of DK or worsted weight, so I'm kind of out of options. I think our food is getting delivered right now. We ordered wings tonight. I'm so excited. Love me some wings. Hopefully our dogs are not attacking the delivery person. So with that, I'm going to wrap this up and wrap up the evening so that we can eat our wings. But yeah, so I'm going to finish the swatch and then block them so that they can dry overnight and I can measure them, and I have got to make a decision on what I'm doing tomorrow, because I've got to start this sweater, or I'm going to be I guess a test failure, because I'm getting a little too behind for comfort at this point. So I've got to get going on this. And then depending on when I finish this swatch, I definitely plan on continuing on my Bargello project. So I did finish my first panel last night. And then I'm going to keep working on my second one tonight. It's so addicting and fun. It's just, you just want to keep going. Like, as soon as you finish a color, you're just like, ooh, one more, one more, one more. I absolutely love it. So it's definitely a nice, fun, soothing project. So until tomorrow.